Welcome, one and all to the Jack and Joe show. Fulham have won by 5-1 against Huddersfield Town, and Joe Sansom, who was just on the podcast, is here to talk some more about the wonderful day at the John Smith Stadium. Joe Sansom, how are you?
Yeah, very good. I feel like all I've talked about for the last 2 days since it happened, and obviously that is the way it should be, is a 5-1 Fulham win. Doesn't happen very often. And Jack, I think first of all, tell us about the day. How was it?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It started off with some cans on the train like usual, meeting everyone at, where was it, Leeds, and then we went into Huddersfield, walked to the pub, singing songs, having pints, not actually watching Peterborough Derby. We were all outside because the weather was quite good. Walking to the grounds, expecting to win. I said I think we'd win 3-0. And then the most bizarre of first halves you'll ever watch. I actually watched the whole 90 minutes back this morning just so I could, add a bit of context to today's video. But it was 5. It could have been more. It could have been Emre Moore. It could have been Kiefer Moore. I'll tell you what, it was an unbelievable away day. And because obviously we've been away for so long, 17, 18 months, as I said on the match reaction on Twitter, it just made it so much better. The fact we scored 5. And it was just, it was almost the perfect day, honestly, because I know we conceded a goal and, the goals were weird, but it was just like to score 5 away from home. It's very rare. So to have it on the first away day back, it's great. Let's just delve into the game. I know obviously the podcast has probably touched on it, but people sometimes come here just to hear our opinions and we want to cover the game. So, Mitrovic's goal. Let's just Schofield's off the pitch. The ball back from Dwayne Holmes is so heavy. He should have just let it go for a corner. It would have been a corner to Fulham, but it ended up off Mitrovic's knee or his arm and spiraling into the back of the net. Joe, what? I don't know what was going on from way down where we were on the in the stadium, but I know you're watching on a stream. What did you think? Did you think that goal was not going to be allowed or anything?
I was absolutely baffled when I was watching it. I didn't know what was going on, and I really thought it was going to get disallowed for being off the pitch.
Yeah,
that was my first instinct. I was like, no, that hasn't happened. That can't have happened. Then obviously Mitrovic runs off doing this, and
brilliant.
Suddenly it's chaos. I think that rivals Mo Diame's goal for Newcastle against Brighton.
Yes,
in terms of just being one of the weirdest goals I've ever seen in my life. For those that haven't seen that, I'd search it up on YouTube because that was just a weird one as well. But I don't know what the goalie's doing. I don't really know what Dwayne Holmes is doing either. Just let it go for a throw, or worst case scenario, I don't think put your goalie under pressure, because I think even a good pass back from there, it's a bit awkward to control. So I thought that was weird in general, but I think we deserved a slice of luck after last week against Middlesbrough. I don't think we got that at all. We were really pushing for the second goal and couldn't get it. And I was saying this on the podcast yesterday. I don't care if every goal we score between now and the end of the season is as bad as that, because it's a goal.
It is a goal, and it was a goal. And then Mitrovic scored again, but it was offside. I think that was offside. What I wasn't sure what happened, and we'll hark back to it now, is in the 5th minute for about 3-4 seconds, I generally just thought we were 1-0 down. And I was like, this is not going as well as I thought it was going to go, 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. I watched the game back, and apparently it might have been a foul on Tim Ream, because I saw no offside, unless there was a man in front of Gaza as the ball goes in who's standing in an offside position.
Yeah, I think
I couldn't tell what was going on, really.
I was really unsure at the time. At the time, I was like, I think that's a rubbish decision. I think that should have been a goal. Obviously, lucky break for us again. But from looking at the Quest highlights, they seem to pinpoint someone in front of the goalkeeper. I think it might have been Ward. And so I think that's why it was disallowed. Either way, what I find the most bizarre about that goal is the fact that linesman flags immediately, and the celebrations go on for
ages,
for over a minute.
And that's because in that circumstance, because nothing is untoward, you would just assume that's a goal. So there wouldn't be a situation where whoever put it in goes and looks at the linesman straight away to see if he's onside, because it's from a corner situation. Yeah, it was bizarre because I watched it again. Like I said, I watched it back this morning, and the flag goes straight up. It's unbelievable. But look, we got away with one, and to be fair, Huddersfield started well. They forced Gaza into a save, and from that resulting corner, the goal went in, which of course is allowed. But I have to say, apart from those opening 5, up until our first goal, they were good. Beyond that, Joe, even when we had 10 men, we'll come on to it in a bit, they were like so bad. Really poor footballing team. Oromar was winning the ball very high up the pitch all the time, finding space, driving into space. I thought Wilson was a little bit quiet, didn't have his best game. Of course, he got sent off in the end. I just thought the whole thing was awful from Huddersfield. And if I was a Huddersfield Town fan, I'd be extremely, extremely worried. I've predicted them to go down pre-season, and I am fully behind it. Like, it's just not good enough from them. But look, let's talk more about Fulham. The second goal, like, because the ball doesn't hit the back of the net, you don't know what's going on. Initially, from where I was, it was really low down. I thought it was a penalty. And I thought something had happened to Josh. He'd got hurt because all the players were running onto him and seeing if he was okay. So I was getting quite worried. But it turns out he'd put it in the net, and Mitrovic bundled on him, and Onamar and not Onamar, probably decalled over Reed and Tosin, and bizarre, but a really good flick on, a nice corner, and a second goal. And again, Schofield could have done so much better with that one.
Yeah, very nice corner routine, actually. It's good to see us score from a set piece. Watching the highlights back is so funny because the ball hits the back of the net, and obviously from the broadcast angle, you can see it clearly,
Goes in, but even Jim didn't know it was in.
No, it's just utterly bizarre. And if you listen to the sound of the fans as well, there's just silence all around the ground when it goes in. I was just looking at my 1-24s that I predicted only a couple of weeks ago, and I think I've got it wrong because I put Huddersfield 20th, and I think that's too high. I mean, I thought they were woeful. I thought they looked quite poor, and from what I saw from the extended highlights of their game against Derby, obviously a Derby team that's basically in turmoil, and I was really hoping that we were going to be playing them at a good time. It seems we did. They're low on confidence. The goalkeeper epitomised that, but I was really impressed with the way we attacked them. In the past, I think we've played teams like this. Even Huddersfield 2 years ago, I think today, when we beat them 2-1 under Parker, just before they sacked their manager at the time.
Jan Sievert.
Yeah, they sacked him that evening after the game. They were very poor. Probably not as poor as this team, but very, very poor. And we beat them 2-1 via a wonder goal. And it wasn't the most convincing in the world. And what I like about the start of this season is we've just gone out there and we've humiliated a team. We've humiliated a team with 10 men at their ground. The first game with fans back. They were always going to start strongly with the atmosphere behind them and everyone pretending to be German.
I knew that was coming at some point.
It's just bizarre, and so happy it's happened. And I hope we can take this into Millwall, which I think will be a much tougher game. I don't think Millwall are exactly. I think people have predicted them higher than I have. I think they're just a sort of middle of the ground Championship team. I'm not rating them as highly as some. I think they're tough to play against. They've got players that work in the system, but in terms of the quality, aside from Wallace, I don't see much. So I'm hoping that we can go into it, and if we can get past the physical aspects and the set pieces, which worries me slightly, then I think we can get another win.
Yeah, we'll come on to Millwall in a little bit more detail at the end of the video, but they've had 2-1 draws already this season. They conceded to Brereton Diaz at the back end of the game, and maybe could have seen out the win that they against Blackburn Rovers, but they couldn't. So I mean, they haven't been amazing. They haven't flew out the blocks. I thought QPR put up a good game against them, and of course Blackburn the same. So look, we'll come on to Millwall at the end. We've got to get through so many goals and so many incidents in this bloody Huddersfield game. It was unbelievable. Their goal, whatever, they headed it down, and we could have done a little bit better. Naby Sarr was winning a lot of headers, and that was quite worrying, but not really. I mean, he's a bit of an aerial threat. Of course, he wasn't the one who scored. It was Pearson, I think, in the end, who scored. And then, of course, let's talk about the youngster Fabio Carvalho. I said he'll run rings in the Sky Bet, and he certainly put on a very impressive display. And actually, didn't realise at the time, because obviously you've had a few and you have no idea what's going on. But he got fouled like 12 times. I had a couple of nasty tackles on him, which I thought the referee was shocking, by the way. Awful refereeing performance. But Joe, talk to me about that Fabio Carvalho goal, because Bobby de-Cordova-Reid with, I think, was it 3 assists on the day, was magnificent, but the footwork to set him up was unbelievable.
Yeah, cheeky little nutmeg, really nice footwork in the box, really crowded penalty area. I think there was about 3 or 4 players around him at one point, and really nice cutback. And I really liked the finish, sliced across the ball. Could have easily gone straight at the goalkeeper, but it didn't. I'm a bit worried about Carvalho in terms of, I think he's being targeted because of his size and his age. And I think that the referees need to help him out a little bit, because in both games, I think there's been some awful tackles on him. And I know that it's always going to happen, especially in a physical league. But the lack of punishment was a bit bizarre to me in both games. We had Sam Morsey last week, who seemed to just love kicking him. And then we had Jonathan Hogg and a few others this week. And it's always going to happen. That's what happens if you're a flair player, especially if you're that size. And if you're quick, that's often the only way these players can stop you. But I would like to see a bit more yellow card action. I guess the next thing that we need to talk about is the red card. And I'm still confused at how there was no punishment for Colwell.
Well, I'm torn on this, because on the train back, I was like, that's a red. And then I'm suddenly like, is it a red? I watched it back to then and I was like, is it? And obviously it's very, very close turnaround to the Millwall game, which is literally tomorrow night. I'm sure this time tomorrow we're going to be in the pub having lots and lots of beer and lots of fun. But we can't overturn it, because I think if we had appealed, we should have appealed yesterday. And I don't know if we'd got a decision in time or blah, blah, blah. So it looks like Harry Wilson's going to have 3 games out. Yes, he kicks out, but is it intentional? I'm not convinced. But I can completely understand, it's one of those ones where, it reminds me of the Harry Arter red card where the crowd influence. And of course, that is now football's back with fans, and the fans will influence decisions. And I thought the referee was weak in decisions where he didn't punish players for fouling Carvalho, but was straight there to brandish the red card for Harry Wilson. And I think that the linesmen as well, their communication was awful. I mean, awful all game. And I was disappointed with the decision. Obviously, it's not nice to have someone like Harry Wilson out for 3 games, especially with Anthony Knockaert still out. Gives a chance, though. Of course, we'll come on to it. I just want to hear your take on the red card, of course, because we'll talk about a certain winger who we have had. I'll tell you what, we've had our fair share of criticism towards, but I have to give it to the foot champs, Cavallero. But we'll come on to it in a second. I just want to hear your thoughts on the red card, Joe.
I think I agree with you. At first, when I was watching it, I didn't see too much in it. I just think it's really naive from Wilson. He gives the referee a decision to make when he didn't need to. It's a red card that I don't think would have happened if there were no fans in the stadium, like you alluded to. It's a red card that I think would have happened if there was VAR. It's a weird one. I think that I'm not sitting here thinking, Wilson, what a dirty player. I can't believe he did that. He let us all down. Because if anything, it seemed like it was almost a natural reaction. I don't think there was any intent, but I think you've got to try and keep your emotions in check. Keep those legs, don't throw them out anywhere. Keep them still, mate.
Yeah.
roll around a bit and get the other guy sent off rather than doing this. But yeah, even Cavallero, as you say, we've given him some stick. He might be the new R9.
Well, this is what we said during when Silva joined, and we said that he's going to turn Ivan Cavallero into an absolute diamond of a player. And within 30 seconds of him coming on, and of course we have to mention the fact that Ngita got on the pitch and Seri's performance as well before we wrap up towards Millwall. He comes on, beats them. What a ball by Bobby de-Cordova-Reid. It's unbelievable over the top. And I thought that the touch was too heavy, but Schofield had a shocker, and I thought he could have come out quicker and parried it. But I've got to give credit to our man, for getting there, chipping over the keeper, and sending the Fulham fans into raptures. The limbs behind the goal, when I watched it back, were fantastic. Everyone, I think we were standing there down in the first half, and then more people came to join us because we obviously were shooting that way in the second. The Huddersfield fans were absolutely seething. Jan seething. Sievert seething. And I tell you what, it was so funny because they were just so easy to wind up because they've got this like big, we're right next to the home fans, we're going to make a big German atmosphere. And then they're not very good at football. So, I mean, it was really funny to see them just crumble. And the vlog that came out as well on Saturday night was fantastic viewing as well. But yeah, what a goal by Ivan Footjams Caballero. And then, of course, he scored the 5th goal. Before we come on to the 5th, let's just touch on the fact that Andre Frank Zamboanguissa, who said he wants to leave Fulham, came on as a sub when Marcus Silva said he doesn't want to involve anyone who doesn't want to be here. I'm not sure if it's like a U-turn from Andre Frank Zamboanguissa, but I think it's just because we're so light in midfield, we kind of need the numbers. And to be fair, he came on, he did a lovely flick over one of the Huddersfield players. And I thought he was fine. And he didn't like stand out as such, but he was more than willing to run and chase the ball and actually make a run into the box. I saw late on in the game. So let me hear your thoughts on Anguissa and then of course Seri as well.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, actually, I'll say about Seri. I thought he had a great game, one of the best since he joined.
One of the only ones.
Too hard. Yeah, I mean, I remember that there were a few games in the Premier League. Palace at home opening day, Burnley at home when he scored the wonder goal, and Brighton away.
And Brighton at home as well.
Brighton at home, yeah. Especially that picture of him when he's like that on the floor and it hit the post. That was a good one. But yeah, really nice passing. He's head and shoulders above the division in terms of quality. Anguissa is a weird one because the reports that came out earlier in the week about him looking for a move away, Silva not wanting anyone that's not involved, as you said. I don't think they just disappear in a week. So to me, I think you look at the bench, look at it compared to the bench against Middlesbrough, who was missing Kamara, who's apparently off. We needed someone else to fill the place. And at the moment, we've still got Anguissa. He's a professional footballer. He's employed at the club, whether he's looking for a move or not. If he's there and he's available and he's fit, he should be involved. And it's one of these things where I'm trying not to get excited and think, because, if these rumours are true, and it might just be agent talk, but I don't see why it would be, because I think that he will believe he can play in a higher division than the Championship.
He can.
Then I don't want someone like that in this squad, because I want players that are committed. We've got a big squad. We're hopefully going to recruit more. And I hope that we can at least hang on to Seri, because, he if you look at the reaction to the 3rd goal, there's an angle where it's right looking straight on at the goal and Seri's sort of the furthest away, and you can see his reaction. And that doesn't, to me, look like a player that doesn't care. That looked like a player that was really happy to be involved, buzzing that Carvalho had scored. Loved the fact that we've got another goal so quickly after conceding, and the ovation that he got and his reaction to the fans.
The fans in there.
He did, yeah. I mean, this could be a little bit of a U-turn for him, and I hope that it is the start of something, because worst case scenario now in terms of our perspective is that we sell him and there's a taker. So either way, I think him playing for us is good news.
It's very interesting. It's intriguing, and I'm sure the squad tomorrow or the team lineup will say a lot about Seri and Anguissa. You would assume that Seri keeps his place, but if Anguissa drops out the squad for, I don't know, a youngster that comes in, maybe, because obviously Kamara's off, and that would be a very telling fact. But the fact of the matter is we need another body in midfield. So Anguissa would be ideal to have on the bench as an option, or even start. I mean, you just never know. It'd be unbelievable. At Millwall away, watching Seri and Anguissa in the Championship is something that I just have to laugh at. It's unbelievable. All right, we'll round off the Huddersfield. 5th goal from Caballero, fantastically well taken. I was expecting him to come on the other side, but I think he went. Did he? Is that his weaker foot? It can't be.
Yeah, he cut onto his left, which is just a massive surprise.
Oh, he did cut onto his left. That's right. Yeah, fantastic finish. Again, good scenes down there. Literally was the last kick of the game. Honestly, we could have easily seen it out for 4-1, but again, It was a wonderful ball from Bobby
Mitro
Reed,
this time, I think, fifth one.
Mitrovic, who, by the way, Mitrovic was fantastic, regardless of that stupid goal he scored, was unbelievable. Like just doing the dirty work and setting up others and bringing them into play and whatever. Fantastic from Mitrovic. So 5-1, very happy, top of the league with Queen's Park Rangers. Interesting, could be very interesting. It was interesting because obviously they were at Hull, so I thought we'd bump into a few on the way back. There weren't any on our carriage, but there was a couple on our train. I spoke to a couple before we got on the train on the way up as well, and they seemed in high spirits. We were just basically talking about how much we hate Brentford, so that was all good. That was all quite good fun and games. But okay, let's put Huddersfield to one side. It was fantastic, loved it. I'm sure it'll be one of the highlights of the season. But the thing with the Championship is we've got a game tomorrow. The games come thick and fast. Of course, we've got Birmingham in the Cup next week as well. Hasn't been confirmed yet. Apparently, it is Tuesday, but the club just haven't announced it yet. I mean, I don't have my Millwall tickets yet. I booked it on the 11th. I'm a bit annoyed, but less about my thoughts and feelings towards the club's ticket office and more about Joe Sanson's feelings towards the fact that Sean Hutchinson might not play tomorrow. Could see a bit of Scott Malone. Jed Wallace, who of course missed a penalty last time we played them at the Den, was one of the last games before lockdown, of course.
Yeah.
Joe, sorry, I've been rambling. Just tell me your thoughts on the Den, the Fog Den.
It's all right. Jed Wallace is a player that, for me, is always the scariest to play when we play Millwall. He's a bit of an unpredictable. He's basically quite good on either foot, and he's very dangerous, and he scores loads of goals for them. His goal for them against QPR was a brilliant strike.
Whoa!
I think he got another one against Blackburn the other day. So he started the season with 2 goals. Hutchinson being out is good news from a Fulham perspective because he's been very good for them. But I'm expecting a tough physical game. They've got Ballard on loan from Arsenal, who was on loan at Blackpool last year, scored a header against us in pre-season. So I'm hoping that this is a game where I'm interested to see how we cope on set pieces because everyone's always said Silva's useless at coaching them. Last season we were okay. We did concede against Huddersfield twice, technically. And, we're now going to be going and playing one of the best teams in the league at set pieces. So I'm interested to see the work they've done midweek. I think if we can score the first goal in this game, I think we can win this quite convincingly because I think that when we score first, and I know that the Middlesbrough game makes this a bit of a stupid thing to say with only 2 games to see. I think that we'll win most games when we score first this season because I think that the amount that we can create on the break when teams have to come at us is going to be quite frightening. That 3rd goal, 4th goal, 5th goal on Saturday were perfect examples. That was with 10 men, 2 of those, and the amount of space we had. So clinical, so fast going forward. Oh my God, I've missed that. Players playing with a smile on their face, players actually attacking players being allowed to attack. It's unbelievable to see, isn't it? So I think if we score the first goal, I think this will be another really positive result for us. If we concede first, a bit more nervous.
Yeah, we could be in a bit of Michael Tremblay then if we concede first. A lot of people were saying after the game, if that was Parker, we'd go 1-0 up and we'd hold the 1-0 lead and we'd bring on like Mawson and whatever. And I was thinking, yeah, very funny. Obviously, that's probably what a very similar thing would have happened. Of course, they won against Forest. They were pegged back after going 1-0 up. Don't care about Bournemouth. Don't need to talk about them. As Derby County just announced they're signing free agent Phil Jagielka, Fulham again piss boiling the Second Tier podcast and the whole of the Championship by announcing the signing of the ongoing saga. Actually, the concluded saga of Rodrigo Muniz signing from Flamengo. Joe, another option up front doesn't mean Mitch is going to go out the door, hopefully. But it's something that a lot of people are getting very excited about, and a lot of maybe the older fans who have been supporting Fulham for 50-odd years just are going, another player, unknown, blah, blah, blah. You get the story. But everyone's quite excited if you're very young.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like a player that none of us have heard of until about a month ago. But it's a player that Silva wants. He's a player that's apparently got huge potential. Very tall, very physical, that'll work well in the Championship. But basically another option up front, Kamara is off. He's run his course with Fulham now. and we need a replacement. So I'm all for it. Apparently a 5-year contract, so it's someone they can clearly see being at the club for a long amount of time. I don't know why everyone's getting so annoyed at us spending money. As far as I was concerned, that's what the transfer window's for. Also, we should point out that until this point, we've spent no money. So I really don't understand. I really don't understand. It's also not £8 million, it's €8 million. That's another issue. So everyone's basically telling us off for spending £20 million when I think we spent £6 million, if I've worked it out right. So, look, I don't see what the fuss is about. FFP, overall, I do think them and parachute payments, they have to change. Something has to change. But until they have changed, I don't see how you can blame any club for using them. I mean, we need, in terms of our assets, in terms of our club and its future, we need to get back up first time of asking, or we're going to be in trouble. So I don't see why we'd go, we're not going to spend any money. We're going to make sure that we spend as much as Luton or Peterborough or Derby. You can't spend anything. It's not our fault that other clubs can't spend this money. And yes, the rules in general, I think, are very much weighted so that the top clubs succeed. But while they're there, I think any club would do the same. And I think any fan would want their club to do the same.
Yeah, I can't believe that people are getting so wound up about it. We are an ambitious club who, when gets relegated, wants to go back up. And what do you do when you want to go back up? You've got to sign some players who are going to get you back up. As long as we stay within the FFP constraints and brackets and we stay on the right side of it, like I've said every week, happy days. And if that means selling Anguissa, fine, we'll take it, because we don't want to have an embargo by January. And of course, everyone's just getting upset because we have an owner who's willing to put money in. When you get all these problems in the Championship about all these owners who don't put money in and just put them into financial problems, Forest, Derby, I can name a few. Just calm down. We're allowed to spend within limits. And
by the way, I just want to say, this is not me going, if we go and sign Grimes for $5 million, and then we go and sign Obafemi from Southampton for another $5 million, we sign everyone, and we don't sell anyone, then I think you can say, okay, right, they're taking the piss a bit here. What are the rules? How is this fair? But at this point, we might go and sell Anguissa for $20 million, and technically, we've sold as much as we've spent. So
Abu's off of 3.5 million or 4 million.
Yeah, exactly.
That's balancing.
We've also sold Johansson.
Although it was 800 or 600k or whatever it was.
I guess it all adds up wage wise as well.
Before we go, really looking forward to Millwall away. I just want your score prediction, Joe. Your thoughts and feelings. It's on Sky, of course. If you're not going,
I am gonna. So I said 2-0 for the Huddersfield game,
right?
And I'm thinking that this one will be a bit tougher. So although we won 5-1 against, I'm going to go based off my prediction for the Huddersfield game. I'm going to go for 2-1 Fulham this time. I still think we'll get the win, but I think it'll be a tougher game.
I think it will be a really tough game. I mean, Millwall love, especially their first night game with fans back. They're going to absolutely make a cracking atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it, but then also kind of not looking forward to it because it's going to be intimidating. It's going to be pressurizing. That 3-0 win was probably one of the best atmospheres I've ever been at from like a home point of view. Not saying that Fulham fans were rubbish. We also added to a fantastic atmosphere. I'm actually going to disagree, and I'm going to say we're going to get our first clean sheet and we're going to win 2-0. But I think we'll, ride a very early storm. And if we can ride a storm and get to half-time at maybe 1-0 or 0-0, I think we can go on and win the game. Before we go, our thoughts are with Mohamed Al Fayed. If you haven't seen the news, his health is accelerating at a decreasing, and it's very worrying to see. And of course, a man who paid off our debts, took us to European final. I'm sure that every Fulham fan will agree by wishing him the best. And of course, being at Huddersfield without Tony on Saturday, we sang his name in the stands. We missed you, Tony, and that one was for you. And really hope you enjoyed it from up there, and 5 goals. It was fantastic to watch. Joe Sansom, we're really looking forward to the future of these videos and the season. Scoring 5 goals away from home is getting everyone pretty excited, and I'm about to go and listen to Fulhamish podcast and the NTT20 podcast and see what their takes on it was. So it's goodbye to you, but I'll hear your voice in about 20 minutes time after dinner.
yeah, you'll hear me just saying the exact same rubbish again.
Yeah, so thanks very much for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and thanks everyone for watching. I mean, I'm really hoping that 5-1 is not, we're not going to look stupid in a couple of weeks' time, and that's just an exceptional result against a rubbish team. I'm hoping that really is now the marker, and we can continue. And even if the score lines don't follow, 5-1, I'm not expecting to win 5-1 every week, but the performances, that's how I want them to be, and I think that we can do that. The marker without Scott Parker. You've got a big podcast. You've also got half an hour of the Jack and Joe show to sink your teeth into. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will be back with a video before the whole game. If we beat Millwall, we will be going. Joe, what will we be doing? Live, and it's live. So yeah, that will probably be Thursday. It will either be a video if we're going to be all sad after a draw or defeat, or a live stream, all happy and buzzing, and we'll be on 7 points. Hopefully. Enjoy Millwall, be sensible, try not to get yourself into any problems, and enjoy it, and come on Fulham. We'll see you on Thursday for the next video.